Here's a fun fact for you. Jay is a ninja. I know it's a massive shock, but of course because he is one of the main characters, he receives a lot of minifigures within the Ninjago brand. He has, I believe, near enough 100 as of the time of filming, all of them having very unique oddities and representing some form of Jay when it does come to Ninjago. But there's a very specific brand of minifigure of Jay that I do think is very interesting. And that is the subcategory of non-canon Jay minifigures. Now, there are a few across Ninjago's lifecycle, but the thing is that we've never had a consistent array of non-canon minifigures. This has never happened for any of the main characters, but it has for Jay at the start of Dragon's Rising. He went through nearly 2 years of having no canon minifigures while still being in every single Ninjago suit wave. So I do think it's interesting as an anomaly. So I thought, why not today we look through this instance of Jay not having any canon minifigures, take a look at the 3 main entries that we got, and talk about whether they're worth it, whether they should have been in the show, whether they actually have a spot in your Ninjago collection. So sit back, relax and enjoy as I talk about some non-canon Jay minifigures. And here the 3 are. These are the 3 lineups that we did get where the Jay is completely not canon. It is the merge suit, the mech suit, and also the climber suit. The entirety of season 1 and the beginning half of season 2. I do think all of them do have some very interesting aspects to them though, and that is why I do want to cover them all as an individual scale, but these are the ones that we will be looking through. All of them take on the general aesthetic of that respective wave. All of the ninja were fairly unified during this point in time, so it wasn't like there was any crazy differences for Jay beyond his own colour scheme, elemental symbols, and things that just make him himself. All of these were applied, but he does fit in perfectly with each of the respective waves that they did fall into. There is no specific anomaly that is worth citing here. But let's take a look at them individually, starting with the merge version of Jay. Again, like I said, taking on the aesthetic that we have seen before now. Having a slightly darker blue though, this does look absolutely amazing. The printing and the detailing is lovely on this colour palette. The aspects of the black going into it really do give it that finishing edge. This blue just goes really nice with the suit line that it is inspiring off of. Whilst I am typically not really a fan of the merge mask in general, I do think it does look really nice on the Jay colour palette. I will say it's a little off-putting because of how big Jay's hair even is, but I don't think it's necessarily a detractor, and also other ninja have much larger hairs when it does come to their characters. But this version of him does suit it very well, but he does look amazing without the mask as well. If only we did have the shoulder part without the half mask. Because all of these minifigures aren't canon, the thing is that there's not really necessarily a weapon to apply to them. So just as a flat basis, I'm just going to be giving all of them the Jay weapon from the 11-minute era. It does look fantastic, and particularly with the merge suit. I love how the gold does contrast. Because there's not really a lot of contrasting colour on this design, I don't think there's necessarily much to really give to it, but it does just make it stand out all the much more. So I do think on an overall, in terms of the initial entry into the non-canon era, this is a fantastic looking suit. The other benefit is that it did come in a cheap set, so it was easy to get. So I do think, honestly, it's a really solid Jay, and a very nice Jay at that. A very common theme with all of these minifigures is that I really do wish we got to see them in the show itself, and this one in particular I think would have looked amazing. So, as it goes, a fantastic start to these Jays. The next one up is actually going to be Mech Jay. This version of him does again follow up with the Mech Ninja, taking on again though his own unique aspects to it. I think this minifigure is absolutely lovely. The printing and the detailing suit this version of him amazingly. Taking on the dark blue underside with the light blue top side and the gold around it, it really does accomplish something special here, despite it not actually having the shoulder pad. A particular highlight here is definitely going to be the mech mask. I do think this is a fantastic ninja hood, and it definitely does go well with the Jay's color scheme. This one does look a lot like his Day of the Departed or the fusion version of the mask because it does have the same colors, so it does just look all the much better. I think this is honestly a really nice contrast when it does come to Jay. I think this mask definitely does suit him to the point where obviously when they used him during his Canon era. If you did want to add on the shoulder pad, it does just make it all the much better, really making him look just a lot more complete and definitely does give him that overall finished feel. Looking really nice with the rest of the mech ninja as well, it really does have that icing on the cake. I will say, I am just generally a massive fan of the mech suits, so it has got that bonus for me personally, but I do just think again this color palette really does go well with Jay. I think Jay definitely does accomplish something special here. So again, on an overall, in terms of the second entry here, it's just another really solid looking Jay. Another really nice one and a very cheap one to get because again, it came out in a cheap set. It really is just, in my opinion, another no-brainer in terms of a Jay collection. This one does just have something special to it, and I really do like it for that reason. Honestly, just another one that I'm very glad that I do have, because it just works. But we do have then one more, and that is going to be a Climber Jay. This version of him, in my opinion, is definitely the peak in terms of this era of him. The Climber designs in general are just absolutely fantastic, but Jay really does just have that level up in my opinion. The amazing detailing, the amazing printing, and the amazing sculpting of the Climber Mech Ninja really does just apply fully to Jay here. Having that amazing darker blue going across as well really is just the icing on the cake. He also does just serve a really good practical purpose. The thing is that his armor is actually the darker blue, which is actually perfectly aligning with Sora. So if you wanted to make a Climber Sora, this Jay is amazing for it. But beyond that, the amazing aspect of the yellows and the oranges going in with those different palettes of blue really does work here. Again, it has got the smaller mask, which goes again back to the hair point, but I do think it is kind of beyond that. The only downside of this version of Jay is the fact that he is the most expensive of the lot. In the countries where the Ninjago magazine comes out, luckily he did come out in one of the poly bags, but the thing is that in non-magazine countries, he was exclusive to the Kai Mech set, which means he probably is a little up there depending on where you are. But that is a really small downside, but is worth noting nonetheless because it is a minifigure that you didn't see in the show, so there's less importance to it. But I don't think that's anywhere near the point. I do just think on an overall, it was an amazing ending to this non-canon era of Jay. Really is just the highlight in my opinion, taking everything that's good about all of the other suits and just doing it better. If Ninjago improves on its designs, I am ultimately happy. And that is exactly what they did here, and I could not be happier about it. This Jay is a highlight, and honestly, one of my favorites in all of Dragon's Rising. But with those three minifigures now done and out the way, it does lead to an overall. Are these worth your Ninjago collection? Are they worth actually putting money into, or can you just skip it because they don't ultimately matter? Now, if you're a Jay fan or you're a completionist, 100%. This is definitely something that is worth your time and also your money. You won't be disappointed. But if you are just looking for a general Jay and something else in terms of a Dragon's Rising display, maybe not. As much as I love them and give them all the praise that I can, at the end of the day, they are not canon. If you don't care for non-canon minifigures, there is no point in getting your hands on them, which is a massive shame, but is ultimately just how it is. But I do think if you're willing to just look past the fact that they're not canon, you've got some amazing minifigures here. Some amazing looking Jays that really do serve a good purpose in a Ninjago collection. So if that's what you want, you should 100% get them. But that is ultimately going to be down to you, and that is where I want to pass it off to you guys. Do you like these versions of Jay? Do you own them? Do you not own them? Or would you even want them? I do think that it's an interesting discussion because of the nature of their origin, but I do think that is just something that is best for you guys. But like I said, I would love to know. because I am very happy with these J's. They're a good price, they're a good addition, and I just want to know if anyone shares that exact same sentiment. But thank you very much for watching the video, and I do hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please consider subscribing. I love discussing Ninjago with more people, and if you do want to support the channel any further, which you do not have to, you could always become a channel member and join the legends that you see on screen. Each of your support means the absolute world to me, and I truly cannot thank you enough. But like I said, that's about it for today, and take care. Okay,